Today we're going to talk about the Live Ship Trader series and why you need to buy it. Even if you don't want to read it, you need to buy it so that I can convince publishers to give me special editions. I'm kind of kidding. That's not how this works. I am too small. Individual purchases like that don't work. But I want illustrated editions for this series because if you didn't know, if you haven't been following me on the channel, if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm Angela. This is a 5-star series. One of my top god tier series that I have ever read. Every book, 5 out of 5 stars, and it's fantastic. So I want to convince you to pick it up, help you decide, because especially since this is technically a second series in a much larger series, if you can pick it up on its own, depending on how you did or didn't feel about Farseer, how it's similar and different to Farseer, if you have picked that up and have some reservations based off your experience there, and just tell you what it's about and why I love it in a spoiler-free way. I do have spoiler chats for all 3 books, and I have a spoiler-free review for the first book in particular. This is just going to be a broad overview where I try to help you decide if this is for you, and I'm going to try to make my gushing be at a minimum, even though I freaking love this series. Like, it's so good. So what is this series kind of like? Well, it feels like an epic fantasy series, mainly with like boat battles and pirates and trade and commerce, and a lot of family drama. Like, it has a heavy dose of family drama and intrigue, and a lot of mystical world-building intrigue as well. Those are all the things you're going to get here. You start in this place called Bingtown, which is kind of a very... It's a place where people have lived forever. It's not an easy place to live. People there are very hardy. They are very rigid and set with tradition, and a lot of our main characters are from a specific family in Bingtown. Most of them are. We have a pirate named Kenneth, who has these great aspirations of becoming king of the pirate. He is someone we meet at the beginning. And then we mainly follow Wintro and Althea, who are from the Vestrit family. And we also follow Brashen, who worked on the family boat. You also have a main character that will be the family boat, because this is the Live Ship Trader series. Boats come alive here. And I'll keep it vague at that. So you have all these characters. And basically, because it's a Robin Hobb story, nothing fair can happen to anyone. Life is not fair. That's like the mantra of a Robin Hobb story. So you're going to spend the first part of the first book getting everyone into probably the most unfair situation that could exist for them, except for Kenneth. Kenneth somehow just has the best luck in the world. And then the story will go from there. Your characters suddenly have a predicament, and they need to overcome their circumstances, and there's a lot of family drama, there's a lot of political drama. It's really good. Like, I really want an adaptation of this. Like, I know we're all hyped for, like, Witcher Season 2 and Wheel of Time. This is coming out in, like, 2021, so it's, like, in the frame of reference for current adaptations. Like, I love the His Dark Material adaptation that's happened so far. But the amount that I want a mini-series on the Live Ship Traders cannot be overstated. I think it would be fantastic drama. Like, it's so good. At least for me, the moments that make me so tense are the moments when all of the characters are in a room with each other and having very tense conversations, and you're just like, they're so real. And that's the thing I will caution you with when you read a Robin Hobb series, whether it is the first one, which is Farseer, or this one, is that everything is very real, which means we really lean into the injustices of things. Things are based on real life, which sometimes you don't want to escape into that. I will say, if you've read Farseer, Live Ship is not nearly as punishing. It's still punishing. It's still unjust. I literally started the first spoiler vlog for Ship of Magic because I was so angry. Like, I was just so angry. And I think this is the pro of the series, is that my happiness, my sadness, my anger, all my emotions were so strong. I was so connected and invested and engaged. I had strong emotions, which doesn't happen to me in all of my reading experiences, but because of these characters and because of the scenarios they're put in, I was always just kind of like yelling at the book, being like, stop it, stop it. And that also goes with, I love her characters, like all of them, even the ones I hate, mainly because she really makes me hate people. I have never hated villains more than I have hated Robin Hobb villains. period. End of story. And when they're not straight up villains, or even when they are villains, character arcs are so satisfying. I mean, every character that went through an arc, I loved watching it. Some of them went on unexpected paths, which is the best. It was so good. And I will say there's a character in the first book that everyone tends to not like, that, and it's understandable why they don't like this character. I'm not saying that people are wrong for being like, this is a very annoying point of view I'm being forced to watch right now. But it is also one of the best portrayals of that age range, of that group, and that person I have ever seen. That wasn't a cliche, that wasn't a caricature. This is exactly how the point of view of this type of person in this situation would be. And it's exasperating, but it's supposed to be, and I still loved it for that. So we've got fantastic, relatable, real, grounded characters that are just amazing. And that, I mean, the caveat with that means if you don't like or connect or care about these characters, this series is not going to be a 5-star series for you like it is for me. I think a lot of my enjoyment, my buy-in, my emotional connection is completely tied to these characters and what happens to them and how they respond and grow. If I didn't care or liked these characters, it would probably be a 4-star series, because there's still a lot going for it in terms of plot moments and convergencies and cool world-building reveals. Like, it still has a lot of stuff that I love in fantasy, regardless of character connection. But the characters and what they go through are why it's a 5-star series for me. So now I think, though, we have to talk about, if you've read Farseer, will this work for you? And I'm talking more to the people who have had troubles with Farseer. If you loved the Farseer trilogy, I think if you connect the characters, you will love the Live Ship Trader series. If you are concerned, I'll point you to Michael Knipp's Ship of Magic spoiler-free review. He's only read the first book, but he is someone who adored the Farseer trilogy, but had problems with Ship of Magic. I do think a lot of them were character dynamic based, like he just wasn't caring about any of the characters on page the way he cared about Fitz, and that's just a subjective thing, right? But I'll point you to that review if you are someone who adores Farseer and are worried about Live Ship. Now, for people who found Farseer to be good but didn't love it, or people who have DNF'd Farseer at any given point, or people who are just concerned because Farseer was just a lot emotionally, do I think you should read Live Ship? And my answer is uncategorically yes, unless you hated Robin Hobb's writing style. Because the writing style is a consistent point. It's a very similar, great, flowing writing style that's very atmospheric, classic fantasy. I don't really know how to describe it, but that writing style is consistent from Farseer to here. The main difference is that we have different characters. We're not focusing on Fitz the entire time, and we're in a different setting. We are not in the Six Duchies. We are in Bingtown. We are in this water area. It's a very water-focused book in a different way than the Six Duchies, which still had boats and things like that. So that would be my one caveat. But I gave the Farseer trilogy a 4-star rating overall. I liked them a lot. I thought they were very good to great books, but I didn't love any of them. And when I finished Assassin's Quest, I waited over a year before reading Ship of Magic because I thought Assassin's Quest was too long. I thought it was paced poorly. And the first book of Ship of Magic was as long as Assassin's Quest. And I was like, I'm not ready for that. And I was so wrong. Even though each book in the Live Ship Trader series is 800 plus pages, they flow by so well. I think the pacing is really top notch for me and my personal taste, whereas I didn't like the pacing in Assassin's Quest or Assassin's Apprentice. I did like it in Royal Assassin for the most part. That is my favorite of that trilogy. I would also say that if you're someone who's worried about, I didn't finish Farseer, can I read Live Ship? I think you can. I think that whatever spoilers might exist in Live Ship Trader for the Farseer trilogy are very hard to pick up unless you know what to look for. Like, I don't think it's very prevalent. They're throwaway lines. You would have to be hyper-analyzing the page to be like, okay, this is in reference to X thing in the Farseer trilogy. It has nothing to do with the plot of Fitz, who's your main character in Farseer. It does reference global events that happen in the Six Duchies, but with no context. Like, you'll read a sentence, and with no context, you won't know. Like, I struggled to figure out why people say this spoils Farseer. There is one element that I guess is a more large mystical element that's spoiled, but again, that shouldn't be why you would enjoy or not enjoy the Farseer trilogy. So, if you're someone who struggled with Farseer, might still want to go back to it, but you want to try out a different Hob, I think you can read Live Ship Trader's no problem. Especially if you just want to like see if you'll like it, and then you can go read Farseer and keep going in the realm of the Elderlings. Now, is it like anything that if you choose to go outside of publication order that you might miss Easter eggs or connections that people will make while they're reading things? Sure, that will always exist. It's not dissimilar to the Cosmere, where you might notice a thing that's not plot important, but really cool to notice if you read things in order versus if you read Live Ship versus Farseer. But I also think Live Ship Traders can just be read as its own trilogy. In this realm of the Elderling, like if you're just someone who's like, I can't commit to 14 books right now, life is a lot, you could read these 3 books, and I think you don't have to go to the realm of the Elderlings anymore. I think you'll want to, because that's how I felt after finishing Ship of Destiny. I'm like, man, I can't wait to get to the Tawny Man trilogy. But I don't think it's required. Like, it is a very contained, satisfying story. So those are kind of my questions in reference to Farseer. I think unless the writing style was a big problem for you, everything else is of the same quality and approach, but instead of being as unforgiving as a lot of the plot points are in the Farseer trilogy, I think this one is more cruel, but similar to what you're used to in epic fantasy, if that makes sense. Robin Hobb has a reputation of being very cruel to her characters. That's still true, but this isn't the same as with Farseer, if that makes sense. Like, I am personally giving this trilogy to my mother to read, who typically likes her escapism to be a good time. Like, it can have stakes, it can have stressful moments, it can be a lot, but she generally doesn't want to feel depressed while she's reading. And that's what the Farseer trilogy, I think, would make her feel like. At least that's what it did for me. So I'm giving her Live Ship to read. And if she loves it, she can go back and read Farseer, but she could also just keep this trilogy with her for all time. So that's what I say there in terms of the larger context of the realm of the Elderlings. I just really think people should read this. So yeah, that's my should you read. It's amazing. I cannot wait. I ordered myself special copies. They're the US hardback covers, and they're my favorite of like the 5 covers we have available, which isn't saying much. None of them are like fantastic. I know a lot of people like the UK covers, but they're just not it for me. But that's it for this one. If you still have questions, feel free to leave those down in the comments. Don't put spoiler comments at all in this video, please. If I see any spoiler comments, even if they're marked with spoilers, I'm going to delete them. I have spoiler videos, so if you want to spoiler chat with me, go to those videos to talk to me about them. I want this to be a spoiler-free, safe place. And yeah, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.